So I got an email yesterday from one of my classes, no, from the other class, no, about, sir, pwede ba extend yung homework? Yes, sige. So you have until Friday. No? So many of you wanted to, breathe, lay low for a while. May ka-opisina rin ako actually. I don't know if his daughter is in Ateneo or UP. No? Parang 2 days daw nagkulong. And kasi everyday daw nandun sa Lenny Kiko Centers, I think sa Katipunan. So yeah. So I'm pushing the deadline instead of Thursday. No? It's now Friday. No? So pinush na natin talaga. So huwag na natin i-push. No? So sige na, just I know you must be frustrated, etc. But it's time to go back to our studies, and this is really what you should be doing. No? So it's still due on 11:59. Yeah. Again, it's the last synchronous session today for this class. Next week, I will still be online for an Ask Me Anything session. So there, no, I'll be online for an hour and a half. But if no one shows up, then I'll just leave after half an hour. But it will be an Ask Me Anything thing, no? Doesn't have to be about SOCSI 13. Can be about anything, career advice, etc. Wag lang love life. Hindi naman ako magaling dyan. So, ask me anything. Career advice, development work, working in the government, NGO, corporate, etc. Although wala na ako experience working in the corporate sector. Okay, just stop me at any point, no? I don't think our class will be long naman. I just want to do a quick exercise later on. Before we finish. And I know I'm competing with the Ateneo game. I hope we win today. No? All right. So we did the first part of Module 5 last week. No? And this week, we'll just finish Module 5. We'll cap off the course with log frames. No? And I hope most of you have already finished this on Canvas. So just to recap, I think we were only 5 last week, when we had class. So on the first part, we talked about causal analysis, and these are the 2 charts are examples of causal analysis. No, 2 popular tools. No, the fishbone, where you have the main problem here. And then you have sub-problems and then sub-problems. So cause and effect. Then causal analysis naman, doing a problem tree, I like this better kasi mas hierarchical. No? Kasi this is caused by this, and this is caused by that, and that is caused by those. Parang ganun. So hierarchical. The good thing with this is you can actually identify the root causes, no, as you go deeper. No? So yeah, you can keep on asking why, no? So sabi nga nila 5 whys, no? Until you dig deeper. No? And usually, again, you don't really intervene. No? When the good thing with doing it systematically is you don't by digging deeper, no, you're trying to identify the causes, no, not the symptoms, no. So you want to, parang doctor, again, it's the analogy is always being a physician, a doctor. No? Identify the root causes. No? So the interventions will try to attack the causes, not the symptoms. No? Parang may lagnat ka, fine, may pagka-palliative, give you anti-fever. No? But fever is not the illness. Fever is not the problem. It's a symptom of a problem. So you try to find what's causing the fever. May infection ba? May ganito. Then you attack that. So it's the same thing with this. So just to recap what we did last time. So last time we actually, so ito pa, another thing is when you're doing causal analysis, so hopefully you have both objective and subjective data. No? So you combine things like the CBMS data plus your FGDs or your group discussions with the community members, different community members. The more diverse, the better para you have different viewpoints. No? And then you combine your expert analysis. So those 3 you combine and then you can come up with that. So last time we tried it, no, with the San Remigio CBMS data, no, San Remigio in Cebu. We'll do an exercise again based on the San Remigio data. Okay, later. No? Pero mabilis lang. Okay. So, our topic for today is very short, the logic models. The tools I'm sharing with you under module 5. These are used by development practitioners working in organizations like USAID, like UNDP, like the World Bank, etc. And NGOs, etc. And you can use this for your organizations, for planning, for your future careers. No? Very, very flexible and very, very useful. Kasi madali mag-brainstorm but organizing them into more systematic things, yeah, that's harder. Kaya nga you have tools to help you organize your thoughts better. So the counterpart of the causal analysis is the log frame or logic models. It's basically what interventions will you now do as a result of, say, what you found out in your diagnosis part. So this is the basic one, and we'll have more examples later. So again, parang sa fishbone, you start with the higher, more long-term thing, the symptom. You start with that, and you work backwards. So impact or goal. What do you want to achieve in the long run, in the long term? That's usually the goal. So medyo mataas yan, medyo larger yan. So MDG goals, economic goals, mas macro, the macro stuff, the larger stuff. Then it's a cause and effect thing. So what will help you when you're planning interventions? So what now will help you? What will lead to that? Now you have outcomes. So yun. What would help achieve having extreme poverty or eliminating extreme poverty? So outcomes are usually mga behavior changes or systematic systems changes as a result of the things you do. The things you do now are the outputs and the activities. Many development practitioners no longer what do you call this? Deal with activities. Diretso na sa outputs. So, yun nga. So again, when you're thinking, itong gusto mong long-term, what are some of the things that will lead to that? Mamaya, I have an example to make it clearer or more concrete. And what do you do? Itong mga to kasi are results of the things you do. Outcome is the more immediate. The impact and the goal are the more long-term things. Outputs are what you do to produce the outcome and the impacts. The inputs are what you use. Parang factors of production, land, labor, capital. In this case, inputs usually that's money, financial resources, people, the experts, and equipment. So think factors of production that you will use to produce something that will lead to outcomes. So, but the way to do it is baliktarin mo. What do you want to achieve first? Then slowly you work backwards. How do you want to get there? What outcomes do you want to influence that will lead to that? And what do you do to influence those outcomes? The activities are just more granular stuff that you do to lead to outputs. So what kinds of training do you do? What kind of discussions, FGDs do you do, etc., etc. But you can skip that part. I tend to skip that part. But if you are more OC or you really are a detail-oriented person, then you can include activities. Tapos, ito na lang. Let's just get here. So this one can be a simple, and you can be as elaborate as you want. So this can be a flip side of this one. So the problem, is the children under 5 years are malnourished. So here, your goal, your long-term goal is to reduce the proportion of children who are malnourished, 0 to 5 years old. So that's your impact statement, the long run. No? In this community, I want. No? You don't intervene there. No? Now you think, no, what would lead me to that? What kinds of results do I want that will get me to that point? No? So yun, increase, I want siguro. And yun nga, it's a, you look back to this. No? Ano ba? Alin ba dito yung would give me clues? No? Food intake. As nakita ko kasi dito, for example, we do not have enough food. Di sige, di isa yung food intake. Diba? And another siguro, let's let the family allocate more of the budget into healthy meals, no? Wag yung puro pancit canton or hot dog, no? It's crazy, no? But you see some families feeding their kids as young as 3 or 4 pancit canton, no? and Coke and whatnot. Masarap sila, but not for toddlers or young kids. So yun. So these are the results you want to see. No, in the long term, less malnutrition. Pero how will the community get there? No? So ito muna, no? We target this. So what do you do? Ngayon, yun na yung tanong, di ba? So nakita mo, these are the pathways to lead you to there. So what do you do now? Ito, you can have a feeding program. You can have a cash for work scheme. So more income. Hopefully, you will lead to more food intake. Social behavior change sessions. Sabihin sa kanila, ay pangit ho yung mga highly processed food, etc., etc. So it's working backwards, pero iterative siya. No? You work right to left, pero as your work moving from right to left, you also test the logic kasi kailangan if-then yan eh. But kasi kung hindi sound yung if-then, yung causal, then mali yung thought process mo. Kaya nga siya logical framework kasi there has to be logic. The if-then should be robust. So these things you will do, those are what you will produce or implement or deliver, no? You are hoping that it would result into this. And when these are satisfied or when these results happen, then hopefully, the thing with, kaya I keep on saying hopefully, these things, no, we go to the, sige, tapusin ko na muna. So activities, no, again, hierarchical pa rin sila. What activities will you do so that you can have the feeding program, that you can enter into the LGU to do work? So ito, very granular. But again, you can skip the activities. And what resources will you use? So LGU resources, experts, resources. So these things, no, these three things you can control. You can control. If you're a project team, you can control your outputs. You can control your inputs. You can control your activities. This is kaya I keep saying hopefully it will lead to this. Kasi you can try your best, no? And the logic may be sound. No? That's why you do research. That's why you do a proper causal analysis. This will lead to that. No? But sometimes the results don't happen the way you envision them. Kasi there are many, kunyari na community, no? For example, you have a project na hindi lang naman yung project ninyo yung variable. Eh. There are other things going on at the same time. Baka mamaya magka-drought and your project has nothing to do with drought. Wala namang wala namang mitigating components yung project mo. Then it can still lead to poor outcomes, no? So these things you can control. The problem here with outcomes is you hope they will translate to that. But there may be other variables that would affect, that would hinder. So kaya nga minsan sa log frame, no, it's more complex than this. This is the basic scheme. No? There are assumptions and risks and mitigating. So may mga ganun eh. May table yan if you want. No? I can share that with you. Meron ding table that you also outline your assumptions and the risks. No? And what could be the mitigating things that you will do in case nagkatotoo na yung risks. Management students din kayo, so I'm sure you've done some sort of a SWOT analysis. So, pwede ka mag-SWOT, no? Around this. No? Yung strengths, weakness, opportunity, strengths, around these interventions. Yeah. The activities and outputs then, of course, should be informed by the causal analysis that you did. Titingnan mo dito eh. Dito yung outcomes na pwede. So this can be, you can think of the goal and impact to address this, the outcomes as improving these, and then the outputs to target influencing these things. So ganun siya. Ganun yung link. Ganun, it's two sides to one coin. Other tools, ito naman, if you're really detail-oriented, we're actually managing. Ito kasi designing a project. So medyo high level pa, broad pa. But if you're actually now implementing the program and you want a schedule, a Gantt chart is really very, very useful. And this is used by so many development practitioners. So it's basically you try this, ito naman, you become granular. What are the things that you want to do? And then you do a schedule. I'm sure kayo, when you're in your own organizations, may events kayo, you do some sort of Gantt chart. Doesn't have to look like this, pero some form or another. But this is a basic example. Could be by day, by week, by month. Ako month din eh. Pag meron kang 2, 3, 5-year project, by month, i-plot mo what you're gonna do. And maganda to because it shows you the dependencies, the different things that you need to do. This should go first before this. Kasi if you don't do this, you can't proceed to the next step. So maganda to, ilatag mo what you need to do and then do a schedule. And you can monitor if you're on track, ito, kulang pa dito, etc. etc. Okay, let's try it out. Ito quickly lang, actually, kahit 15 minutes lang. Choose one development challenge of San Remigio based on CBMS data. Try to na ngayon, I mean, for those who were here last week, you can use the fishbone that you did last week, but for something else. And I'll break you into 3 groups na lang para konti lang tayo. Try to develop a log frame, and I saw that some people are leaving. That's expected. Try to do a log frame, try to develop a log frame to propose an intervention. Ano na lang, I'll divide you into 2 groups para mas maraming brains. Try to propose an intervention, log frame. So impact, outcome, output. Wag na kayo mag-activities, then inputs. Log frame lang, try it out. Sa discussion board nyo, may parang ganito rin. So you should be familiar with this. Let's divide into 3 groups. Take 5. I'll give you 15 minutes na lang. I think you can do this in 15 minutes. Choose a leader, and then you can present it for 2 minutes each. So I'll give you 15 minutes. I will randomly assign the breakout groups now. So again, log frame lang. Kunyari lang, nag-causal analysis na kayo. So just feel free to be creative. Gusto ko lang ma-practice ninyo. Because this is actually, for me, this will be useful. Let me just do breakout rooms. I'll divide you into 3 breakout. Dalawa na lang. No, let's do 3 breakout rooms para mas interactive. Assign automatically, create. Options, breakout rooms will close automatically after 15 minutes. Okay, allow participants, no. Automatically move breakout. Okay, see you.
Uh, could could you transfer me to breakout 2?
Ah,
Because that
okay, sige. You got disconnected. Sige, sige.
disconnect lang po ako.
Okay, sure, sure.
Hindi
Okay, welcome back, everyone. Okay, so I want you guys to quickly present lang kahit 2 minutes, no? And if you're not finished yet, no, it's okay, no? Just wanted you to get a feel for it, no? How it's done. By the way, no, I'm not saying you should do it, but some of my previous, not sure if it's last semester or last year, no, they actually tried to do for their homework too, no, they tried to do the either a causal analysis or a log frame. I forget now if it's homework 2 or the FIO. Baka lang gusto nyo. Just, but of course, no pressure to do it. All right. So what I noted is there are 3 groups. So one is just so there's Anika, she breaks, and then Cheska. Not saying you are supposed to present, but that's how I remembered the groups, no. So siguro group 1 na lang, Anika's group, no. If you can quickly I'll stop sharing my screen. So if you want to share your screen, just quickly present 2 minutes what you've done. Sige. Anika's group. Doesn't have to be you.
So here po, this is just a short or like a pretty simple um presentation of what we discussed.
Okay.
So first lang sa impact. So we decided to focus on health through personal hygiene because we noticed that was one of the key areas that um San Remiejo struggled in.
Okay.
So in terms of outcome, it's provision of better access to clean and safe waters and ample sanitation facilities. Uh, Outputs, protected reservoir, clean and filtered waters, then official system for using their shared wells. So the time for use, maximum amount, locations allowed. This is just in terms of the distribution of water and yun nga, giving them access to that clean and safe water. Oh, sorry.
Here talaga.
Don't mind this. And then as for input, so it's
Okay.
some of the materials or equipment needed would be pipelines, water filters, and then plotted locations for of shared wells, and then water cooperatives and water regulatory bodies hiring those experts, and also experts in area development planning, and also the contractors and manpower to do all of these um, heavy lifting in terms of construction, all that. That's it po.
So it's a very good, it's a very good log frame, and really good, no? Even under time pressure, no. Just a few comments, no. Tama, the logic is good. In terms of like the ano lang, the way you write it, no. So iwasan, for example, no, when you're actually doing this, no, don't use through. Kasi yung through that creates just it's an end state. Wala nang through, diretso ka na. So improved personal hygiene. Diba? Or pwede yung hygiene could be the outcome, the impact could be improved health, well-being, or whatever, diba? Yun lang. I mean, but don't worry, no? I like the logic, no? And outcome, same with outcome, no? And it's not what you do. It's an end state, no? The outcomes and impacts are end states. So it's not doing this, provision of that. Pero it could be like improved access to clean and safe water, no, better quality, no, improved quality of sanitation facilities, parang ganun, or improve number, no, or something, or ganun, then you lead to that goal. Outputs, okay naman, ito, these are the things you do to produce these things, and these are your input and activities. So okay, yeah. Don't combine input and activities. Just inputs na lang. So, but if you want a separate column for activities, pwede. So thank you. Thank you for the group. No, very good job. Good job. Next group, group of bricks. I don't know who's gonna present.
Hello po, sir. For our group, upon reviewing po yung data na share screen nyo po, we realized na relevant pa rin po yung pinost ni Mimo na log frame dun sa discussion board, so we went with that po. So the issue is high rate of unemployment among the labor force, and then inputs would be sponsorships from private entities and assistance from government agencies or offices.
Ay, wait lang. Can we do it backwards, right to left, di ba?
Okay, so I'm sorry po.
Sige.
The
Okay.
goal would be to increase the percentage of the labor force that are employed, and then outcome would be for more people getting hired for jobs and less cases of people getting laid off by improving qualifications to keep a job. And then outputs would be job fair programs, free public skills trainings, and increased job openings. For activities would be organizing job fair events with partner private and public institutions, and planning skills workshops under the supervision of relevant government offices, and discussing and creating more opportunities with the help of DOLE and LGUs and possibly private corporations. And lastly, inputs would be sponsorships from private entities and assistance from government agencies or offices.
So yeah, very good. No? Good job, guys. So yun, again, kita nyo, no? So the outputs are the things you do, no? And will lead to this. No? Tama ka naman ginawa mo eh. After you did right to left, you test the logic left to right. Diba? So if it makes sense, kung may if then siya. No? Same with the causal analysis. No? Will this lead to that? No? Of course, based on your logical thinking. No? Again, my comments are just more not the logic I like, and then of course you can think of more, no, to put here, no. But this is a very, very, very good start. It's just a matter of rephrasing the impact and goal state. End state sila, no? So parang nangyari na. No? What's your goal? No? Increased percentage of labor force that are employed, or increased employment rate, diba? End state. Tapos, it's more people getting hired. You can restate na lang that into something more end state-ish. Then tama naman yung outputs nyo and activities. Kaya I sometimes skip activities kasi sometimes parang it becomes redundant, di ba? O, job fair programs, what do? You organize job fair. Parang redundant. That's why in most cases, no, I skip this para mas diretso na. And then inputs, no? So very, very good job. Great. Good job. Good job. All right. Last group, no? Cheska and group, no?
Okay. So, hi, sir. The area we wanted to focus on was basic education. And for the goal, we wanted to increase the number of children attending school. And upon discussion, we might have been a little too we might have microanalyzed it a bit too much, because we said that in particular, we wanted to increase the number of children age 13 to 16 attending school, because this is we noticed this is when maybe more children drop out. And also it's at this age where people become more are able to comprehend more like social studies. And it was just a thought that came into mind in light of the recent election that happened. But moving on to the outcomes, we want first is proportionate teacher to student ratio. And to make that possible, we wanted increased teaching incentives, because there aren't the number of teachers we have aren't enough. And that's where we need increased human resources. So we wanted to provide more teaching incentives, whether it be postgraduate education incentives, or even monetary incentives. And then the next outcome is people who are capable of using digital platforms and are responsible when using it. So that means people need to know how to use computers, have access to electronic databases, and even learning management systems. So the input there is technology. And then third is the third outcome is students to have um not only students to have tools when learning, and also the quality of those tools be increased. So whether that be classrooms or internet, and even the transportation that they may need from home to school, we the input there is the investment in infrastructure and facilities. And lastly, for just the overall increased access to education, the output would be scholarship programs and an increased and adequate Department of Education budget through the input of financial resources. That's all, sir.
Yeah, thank you. No? So a couple of things. And again, very good start. No, very exhaustive. And I like the fact that you tried to a few notes. No, first, it doesn't have to be one to one lahat. No, so it doesn't have to be outcome. Anong output mo? One, it could be one. For example, no, the goal statement. No, or the impact. No, usually that's only one. Kasi long term. No? So. And then outcomes can be a few only. No? It doesn't have to be dalawa outcomes ko, dalawa outputs ko. No? Could be 5 outputs or 5 components will lead to 2 outcomes, will lead to 1 impact. Parang ganun siya. No? So it doesn't have to be one on one. That's one. No? And again, of course, maybe you didn't have time. No? You go back and test the logic. Kasi your ultimate goal, no? Ito lang. No? And this is not meant to critique, no? But this is as a guide, no? To go back and keep reviewing. Will increasing the quality and tools for learning really increase the number of children going to school? Diba? Baka, yes, that's important, pero if this is your goal, no, does it contribute? Kasi dapat, again, the if-then should continue from the input to the output to the outcome. So maybe dito, no, if I were to sort of revise this a bit, no, maybe the number of children attending school can be part of your outcome. Together with all of these things, no, itong teacher-student ratio, yeah, pwede rin siya outcome, no. Then maybe your ultimate goal is, diba, like pati ito, no, the responsible and capable e-citizens, does that lead to increased number of children from attending school? Baka nga baliktad, di ba? Maybe the ultimate outcome is increased number of responsible and capable students. Di ba? So tapos lahat ito, di ba? So ganon. So the trick with the log frame is to keep testing the if then, if it falls, if it's robust, no? Or pwede, sometimes yun, kahit kami, we make mistake. Ay, ito pala, baliktad. Dapat the impact should be, actually, i-demote natin into an outcome or demote, no, into an outcome, and then this becomes the final. So, yun nga, this is a good start. Maybe you can also revise it that way. No? So, keep testing the logic, right to left, left to right. Will this really lead to that? Diba? Being responsible and capable e-citizens doesn't necessarily lead to an increase in a number. Kasi dapat this outcome will lead to the goal. So yun lang. So a few comments. I know you guys didn't have time masyado, no, but just wanted to, you guys have to have a feel, no, apart from your discussion. So thank you for that. And very good start.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Okay, and let me close the course now, no, by with a few more things, no, before halftime yata, so before you go and watch the game, the second half. Or I'm sure some of you are watching the game as we're having our class. The joys of online learning. Okay. All right, so closing the course, no, and I try to, no, I don't mean to make this a sermon, no, but short of it, no, I really wanted a few reminders lang. This is coming from an Atenean myself. I'm an Atenean myself. No? So from prep to college, no, Ateneo talaga. So and so I know, no, I share the same experience as you guys. So this Take this coming from an Atenean, a fellow Atenean. So again, let's go back, no? Full circle, no? We started with the SDGs, no? Sabi nyo nga, MECO students kayo, baka sawa na kayo with the SDGs kasi you studied in your ECO 177, 12, etc. But yeah, again, the SDGs, that's high level, that's your impact goal thing, but always go back to, to that topic, no? Because it's important, no? The world and the country, especially now, no, is full of development challenges. No? And that's the reason why we studied it carefully. Hinimay-himay natin siya. No? So it's really trying to address development challenge. The problem, especially now with the pandemic, with the Ukraine-Russia war, the Russian invasion, no, poverty has worsened. You saw the statistics as well. Not just us, but in many countries as well, especially developing countries. Just a few more tips, no. Many of you volunteered your time, effort, no. That's a good start, no. And it's never too early to start. And let me share an anecdote before we close. No? And this is true, and I didn't realize that I actually told this to my friend. No? So we were about to graduate. No? I graduated in March 2020. No? Yeah, June to March pa yung school year that time. So I knew what I was going to do. No? I was going to go be a Jesuit volunteer. Again, that's a plug, no? If you're interested. I didn't know yet where I was going to be assigned to kasi they assign you based on your background, your skills, etc. Siya naman, sabi dad ko pinipilit ako mag-corporate. No? The usual, no? That's the usual pathway naman of many Ateneans. No? So that's common. Sabi niya, pre, okay lang ba yun? Kasi unlike you, para I cannot serve the people, I cannot serve the poor, I cannot make a difference, etc. No? And apparently, I told him, no? Sinabi niya sa akin to after na, few years after. Apparently, sinabi ko sa kanya, ang problema, no? And ang mentality na, especially with college kids, no? Mentality minsan natin is, when I was your age, no? Hey, the corporate world, that's evil. No? For many, no, may rebellious attitude tayo, that's greedy, ganun, iwasan yan. No? So, sabi paano yan, no? Pag lahat tayo pumasok sa NGO, this is what I said, no? Or the development sector, no? Paano na yung corporate, no? So, medyo pa ako, yung idealistic na. You have to, change it from within, no? You infiltrate it, so to speak. No? So, sabi niya nakatulong sa kanya. No? He went to the corporate world, nag-HSBC siya, and he did a lot of good things. No? Trying to also, of course, he made money, but he was also in his own little way, giving back or trying to make a difference. And, and this is my point, no. You can affect any change in this sector. That's why I always have as one of the topics the role of the private sector, no, because it's a paradigm shift, no. It's not, of course, there's that greedy part of the corporate world, but you can affect change in any sector, even the corporate, and that's why we had a whole sub-module on that. No, it's actually the private sector who has the most capacity. They're more capable, no, because they have the expertise, resources, etc., etc. They make money which they can flow back to the things that can make a difference. So if you're really interested in NGO, again, wala ring masama. I did my time in NGO, in the government sector, no, before I moved to the international development space. No, please do it. Keep in touch. One of my students last night sent me an email after. No, she wanted to keep in touch. I can be a mentor if you want in the future. I can be a reference, etc. No, please do it. Keep in touch. Send me an email. I can give you my personal email address. I might not be teaching in Ateneo forever, kaya baka mawawala na rin yung aking email address. I'm not even sure if I'll teach again next year kasi work is getting busy. I have a young kid, so keep in touch, especially if you really want to pursue a career in development, government, NGO, etc. While you are still students, no, yun, maki-engage, no. First, very basic, read the news. Again, my top choices, as I told you, Manila Bulletin, Philippine Star, Business World, Business Mirror. Because they provide good news, good analysis, and they are, for the most part, more objective and non-partisan. I already told you what I observed about Rappler, Inquirer, and then on the other side, Manila Times, Daily Tribune. Of course, feel free, no, to still read them, but be a critical reader. Try to also read the other media outfits. Then don't readily believe, especially if it sounds wow, incredible. Then verify as well. Participate as much as you can in social movements, no, socially oriented organizations, or integrate development principles in other orgs. No? For example, no, one of my students sabi, sir, kami sa Ateneo Management Association, we wanted na yung focus namin social enterprises, no, SSE. Ayan, good. So you can integrate it in your orgs, in your projects. No? Kami, no, when I was a MECO student, just like you, 22 years ago, no, ang final project namin was a business plan and actually running a business. No? So you can also try to run a social enterprise. So example lang. So pwede, no? Even at a young age. No? Participate in mobilization, no? But of course, after careful consideration. And mind you, again, my opinion, and this is me, you participate in mobilization after careful consideration, mga protesta, ganyan, but please, no academic strike. Respect democracy. Of course, it's democratic to express your frustration, but think about it carefully before you do something. Same, no. Sorry, I should have removed this. No? So same, no. Integrate the development objectives and projects, project ideas. Read up on good examples. No, I've provided you with a lot of good examples. Marami pa dyan. You want to email me, sir? Ano pa bang ibang examples? No, dami dyan. And revisit examples in this course. And take your NSTP classes seriously. And avoid the Messiah complex. Sorry, I'm gonna save the world. No, I will. Ito, anecdote again. When I entered government, no, right after JVP, no, NAPSI, no, it's the National Anti-Poverty Commission. Parang, wow, atinista ako. So I know a lot of stuff. Ang galing ko. But no, you'll soon eat humble pie. You'll soon realize, hindi, I'm just a newbie. I might be smart, maybe, but I don't know things yet. So you try to contribute in your own little ways. You really try hard, but avoid thinking that you are the savior or the Messiah. Don't let it get into your head. But keep the passion alive. And again, going back to what you guys felt right after the elections, use that, no? Use that to fuel your passion in the long run. No? How you engage with government, in your future careers, in your classes, no? While at the same time respecting democracy. So yun lang. Any comments before we close? So I see hearts. I hope you guys found some useful stuff, no, during the course. And thank you for especially to my loyal cadre of 5 or 6 students, no, that really showed up each Wednesday. No? And I don't blame the rest, no, for not really showing up. Because I know core courses usually compete with the majors, and when crunch time is there, no, when it's crunch time, talaga, you have to choose. You have to prioritize. So I don't take offense. That's fine. So maraming salamat. I think that's it. So whoever would like to ask anything, email me or join the Ask Me Anything session next week. Again, completely optional because it's study days anyway. Okay? So you can now continue watching the game. Thank you guys for the SEM. Have a good dinner. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir.